Hello, my name is Vigil, and this is Dream Labs. Copyright Table LLC 2022. This is Intro to Dream War. This will be a class on fighting Nth to the D warfare or interdimensional alinear multiverse warfare, which is referred to as a Dream War because it is using finished stem fields combined with the nearing or infinite resources across the multiverse, which itself can be either a nearing infinite multiverse or an infinite multiverse. I will be covering alinear paradoxes, multiverse thinking patterns which allow you to plural yourself while operating in the infinite multiverse, kinetic development environments that are both alinear and forward moving, or a mixture which allows you to create a technology and accelerate the technology to the nth or finished end state within a compressed amount of time. I will cover entity types that you are likely to run into, such as hive minds, type 3 or greater beings, and hyper-intelligent collectives, while trying to give you a scope on how much depth there is in these types of multiverse wars alongside the vast scope of the size of the universe, multiverse, whether it is infinite or nearing infinite. I will go over the technologies that will exist and which are possible to create. Pretty much anything you can imagine can be created, hence the term Dream War, which includes cryonaut dropships, cryonologically forward operating bases, colony civilizations artificially created and accelerated to act as flanks against enemy moves, quantum machines which use entanglement to create planck-sized clockwork that can be used as a brain for nanorobotics, which themselves can be used to create atomic swarms that self-replicate to create gray goo or even neuralized brains through saliva or blood, even become airborne. This is probably the source of most zombie infections. I will cover the various types of time travel, including rewritable, non-rewritable, and a mixed version. Paradoxes and solutions which exist in every category of time travel. All the paradoxes have been resolved now. And discuss how time travelers communicate from hand gesture languages to direct communications and abstract speech or tongues, along with their methods of communications that are indirect, like writing on the wall, and other methods which hide in plain sight, which are at times the only means for them to communicate because of the paradoxes that result when they talk directly. I will cover the various technologies for faster than light travel with a mechanical device, the use of light, which I will be using a new model for, which moves away from quantum mechanics that is currently being used to model. And this one is much simpler to understand and will allow you to begin engineering new technologies which warp space-time or better understand light. I will do a short explanation to help you understand electron physics to make electronics easier to understand. And you should, in theory, be able to begin construction on space-time warping machines, unify physics with the understanding that light can be viewed as a particle at all times, while explaining the uncertainty principle in plain speak, and explain why the double-slit experiment is actually a packet in both versions of the experiment, in the double-slit experiment, not a wave, etc. With this class, for future students that are able to get access to the Neuralace, you will find that I've created for you a game using my abstract thinking patterns which have been recorded over the last 15 years. Every single stray thought or concept that entered my mind will be made into an immersive simulation that allows you to either suppress long-term memory to experience the games as if they are a reality and like as if you had lived in the game your whole life, or simply enjoy the fictional universe that every stray thought has created over the last 15 years. As you interact with the game, it will learn and grow alongside the open source community that I've created, which will create art, gaming, programming mechanics, and continued plot expansion so that a small multiverse of games should be available to play, and it should be growing indefinitely. I go by the name Vigil. That's what I'll refer to myself as. This class is about preparing you for life outside of this planet. Like, whether you're a traveler who's just kind of cruising around the multiverse, linearly or sliding, or just going around this single universe, like going to the 2 trillion galaxies and the 8 to the 23 zeros of planets that exist, or whatever you're doing, I hope this class will assist you. It's made for an intelligence level that is fairly average. You know, like, you can learn these concepts when they're explained in simple terms. You can explain this shit to kids and they'll understand it if you explain it in the correct terms. What else? A lot of times these classes will be fully immersive in the sense of all talk as if the scenarios, the game scenarios, these reality fictions, as if they're real. It's my belief that the anthropomorphic principle of humanity, which causes us to write these elaborate story plots of self and of like reality environment narratives, I think they're all false. I don't think you can ever actually know who you are, what you are, and you can never know really with any certainty because of the unknown principle, which is results in nihilism, which ends in just pure faith if you choose to believe in something or choose not to. Um, what this means, though, is that at times we'll get really in depth in a subject, and I'll talk about it as if it's reality. And because of this, it adds to the game element, and this class is for gamers. Like, I get that we're in the 21st century. Really, I'm aiming more towards the, like, a little bit further into the future. How fast our technology accelerates with any hope, it accelerates at a rate that diffuses or spreads simultaneously as the acceleration occurs. So no one's left behind, so that the technology doesn't end up getting us all killed. Anyway, so the anthropomorphic principle of humanity says that, like, in order to know something, you have to linguistically describe it, secondary processing, as psychologists call it. And this secondary processing, though, is a complete fiction that you begin to believe is so real to you that, like, those who have the anthropomorphic principle of reality that says their God is real will kill themselves or kill others with, like, in order to fulfill this false narrative. And, like, what does this mean for, like, humanity at large? It means that we will drive our entire civilization into death and destruction because of our fictional belief systems about reality. Like, the idea that that hill over there must be taken because it must be ours, like in a war. It's a fiction, you know, like national identity, religion, atheism, narrations about saints and demons, and like it's all a fiction, you know, like. And so right now, the way I'm operating, the current game that we'll be playing or whatever is that we're in Earth 21st century. I am a cryonaut unit who's been sent back in time. He had his memory wiped, but he has a secondary mind, and he has essentially a forward-moving kinetic development environment that's operated by alinear programmers. I've been inserted into a hive mind nest that is infecting people. It has neuralized the population, and it's remote controlling them with an internet system that's floating around on drones that's alinear. And this nest that I'm operating out of, I'm slowly exfiltrating data from it, which is where all this stuff comes from. I'm slowly inserting malware, and I'm deliberately enduring vast amounts of torture, as you can see with my eye and stuff like that, for the purpose of this class. And like, what else? Everything I create and write is a fiction. It's based upon abstract thinking patterns that is the anthropomorphic principle in me, which has been heavily warped and distorted throughout my life to create these vast fictional narratives. And like, it's my hope that these vast fictional narratives continue to grow the multiverse of games that I've created, like from my single mind and through the help of assistance of, I hope, others. We're able to create a video game in the future that is so immersive, so pervasive from the technology augmentations and whatnot, that uses the neural lace to allow you to enter matrix realities. It's my hope that it's my hope that this class helps you in some way, as like in the year 3000, the year 10,000, the year 1 million, and beyond. It's my hope that we create something very worth creating, I guess. But this is the first introduction to the class. I'll walk through it a little more slowly, what I talked about. And if you have any questions, just hit me up.